What if the end of summer doesn't just mark the closing of a season, but the closing of a story that has lived in our hearts for years? Season 4 of The Summer I Turned Pretty is not just another chapter, it's the final one. And with the trailer's haunting silence and the release date shrouded in mystery, fans are asking the only question that matters: how will this story end? The first look at The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 4 has sent the entire fandom into a frenzy. It's more than just a trailer. It feels like a goodbye letter disguised as moving images. The shots we've seen so far are subtle, almost whispering to the audience rather than shouting, and yet they carry the weight of finality. Belly walking along the shoreline, her figure fading into the horizon, doesn't just symbolize the passage of time. It's a reminder that her story is reaching its last chapter. The camera lingers, but never explains. And that silence is exactly what has fans dissecting every frame. There are quick glimpses of Conrad, possibly on a college campus, Jeremiah in the middle of laughter at a family gathering, Stephen and Taylor, sharing a moment that feels heavier than anything we've witnessed before. It's not what's shown that has fans on edge. It's what's carefully hidden. No clear romantic endings, no obvious hints about who Belly chooses, no spoon-fed answers. The trailer plays more like a puzzle, daring the audience to search for Easter eggs Jenny Han may have slipped in for only the most devoted eyes to notice. And that mystery is why fans are watching the first look again and again, hoping to catch something new with each viewing. When it comes to release dates, speculation is already running wild. Prime Video has remained tight-lipped, but history tells us a lot. Season 1 dropped in June, Season 2 in July, and Season 3 in August. That steady progression points to a late summer release for the final season, most likely August or September of 2026. And while nothing is confirmed yet, the timing feels almost too perfect. Jenny Han has always treated summer not just as a backdrop, but as a living, breathing character. To end Belly's journey in the very season that started, it all feels like destiny. Summer has always been where innocence, first love, and heartbreak collide, and wrapping up the story at the end of summer makes the emotional impact impossible to ignore. But there's another theory that's spreading across fan communities: the possibility of a split release. Imagine Part 1 arriving earlier in the summer, pulling viewers in with joy, nostalgia, and tension, only for Part 2 to arrive at the very end of summer, delivering the heartbreak that Jenny Han is known for. It would be cruel, yes, but it would also be genius. Fans would have weeks to build theories, debate endings, and prepare themselves emotionally, only to be shattered when the final episodes land. It's the kind of strategy that turns a release into an event, not just a streaming drop. What makes this trailer stand apart from the earlier seasons is its tone. Season 1 carried the innocence of first love. Season 2 gave us the unraveling of emotions. Season 3 showed us the bittersweet pain of growing up. But Season 4's first look feels different, heavier, more mature, as though Belly herself is no longer the girl caught in a love triangle, but a young woman standing at the edge of her choices. Her voiceover, calm yet reflective, signals growth but also a deep sense of inevitability. Every shot feels drenched in tension, Conrad's eyes hiding unspoken emotions, Jeremiah's laughter carrying a shadow of sadness, and Belly's quiet presence suggesting that she already knows heartbreak is waiting. This isn't just hype for another season. This is the beginning of the end. And that's why the fandom is on fire. Because if Season 3 taught us anything, it's that the quietest moments often hide the deepest heartbreaks. Season 4 is shaping up to be less about answers and more about emotional impact. And if the first look is anything to go by, the heartbreak won't come in loud, dramatic moments, but in the silences, the pauses, the glances that carry years of unspoken history. Every season of The Summer I Turned Pretty has carried its own emotional anchor. Season 1 was about innocence, that first rush of summer love when everything feels new and possible. Season 2 is about unraveling, the heartbreaks, the fractures, the moments when characters realized love is never simple. Season 3 brought the bittersweet growing pains, where maturity clashed with desire and choices started to carry real consequences. But Season 4 feels different. It feels like standing on the edge of something final, something that cannot be undone once it arrives. The first look doesn't waste time on flash or spectacle. Instead, it leans into quietness, a haunting calm that tells us the storm is coming. Fans have noticed how Belly's narration feels older, steadier, and more self-aware. It's as though she's no longer speaking as the girl who stumbled through summers at Cousin's Beach, but as someone who understands that every decision now will echo far beyond the season. That shift in tone alone has people convinced that this final chapter won't be about simple resolutions, but about life-changing choices. Conrad, Jeremiah, and Belly have always been at the heart of this story, and yet the trailer carefully avoids showing us any clear romantic outcome. Instead, it gives us fragments. Conrad in a moment of silence, Jeremiah laughing but with eyes that don't quite match the joy, and Belly reflective as though she knows the weight of what's ahead. What makes this more powerful is what's left unsaid. Because in this series, it's never been the big declarations that break us. It's the quiet gestures, the pauses, the words that almost get spoken, but don't. And fans know that those moments will carry the sharpest sting in the final season. Speculation around the release date is fueling the suspense even more. Patterns point to late August or September 2026, but whispers suggest a split release could be on the horizon. Imagine it, the first half of the season dropping in midsummer, just when the world itself is full of light, laughter, and the golden haze of long days. And then the second half arriving at the very end of summer, when the air turns cooler, the days shorter, and the weight of endings impossible to ignore. The idea of a staggered release isn't just a marketing strategy, it's poetic. It mirrors the very theme of the series: longing, waiting, and the ache of knowing that everything you love eventually slips away. But fans aren't only talking about dates. They're talking about the energy the trailer carries. Every shot is deliberate, and every absence feels like a clue. There's no wedding scene, no clear look at who Belly ends up with, no overt hints at a time jump, yet fans are certain that something larger is being hidden. Theories have begun circling faster than ever. Will Conrad's infamous letter finally make its way onto the screen? Will Jeremiah, the steady presence, finally claim the ending that many believe he deserves? Or will Belly walk away from both, choosing herself in a twist that shocks everyone? The beauty of this trailer lies in how it raises questions without offering answers. It trusts the fandom to do what they do best: analyze, theorize, and argue over every frame. And that's why excitement is at an all-time high. Because when Jenny Han builds a story, she doesn't give away the ending in bright lights. She hides it in shadows, in silences, in the smallest details. And fans know better than to look for obvious answers. They're searching for the subtle ones. This is what sets Season 4 apart already. It doesn't feel like a story still being built. It feels like a story preparing to close its doors. The tone is final. The imagery is heavy. And the fandom is bracing itself, not for another twist of summer romance, but for a conclusion that might cut deeper than anything we've seen before. While the excitement of a new season keeps fans on the edge of their seats, what truly makes The Summer I Turned Pretty special is not just the love triangle, but the raw emotions behind it. Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah are no longer the same people they were when we first met them. The experiences of heartbreak, family struggles, and moments of fleeting happiness have shaped them into characters we can all relate to. Season 4, if it truly becomes the final chapter, has the chance to take us deeper into their inner worlds than ever before. And that's what makes this season so unpredictable. Because love is not always enough, and sometimes reality has the power to break even the strongest bonds. Conrad's silence, his constant struggle to express what he truly feels, has always been both his strength and weakness. He's the character who carries the most pain yet hides it under layers of distance and quiet stares. But fans know that inside him, a storm rages. A storm that has only grown louder with each season. Will Season 4 finally force Conrad to open his heart before it's too late? Or will his hesitation once again push Belly into Jeremiah's waiting arms? These questions keep the tension alive, reminding us that love is not about perfection, but about timing. And timing has never been kind to Conrad and Belly. On the other side, Jeremiah shines with his warmth, his openness, and his ability to make Belly feel safe and wanted. He represents the easier choice, the kind of love that feels like sunlight on your skin. Warm, bright, and secure. But even this love comes with its shadows. Because deep down, Jeremiah has always known that Belly's heart beats differently when Conrad is near. Will he be able to live with that truth? Or will season 4 finally give him the moment where he refuses to be the second choice and demands a love that is entirely his own? And then there's Belly herself, the heart of this story. She has been torn between two brothers, between past promises and present realities. But now, in season 4, the weight of her decisions will be heavier than ever. She's not the same girl we saw in season 1. She's grown, she's loved, she's lost, and she's realized that love doesn't always bring peace. Sometimes it brings pain, sometimes it forces you to choose between what feels right and what will last. Season 4 could be the moment when Belly finally discovers that the love she's been chasing might not be the love she truly needs. This is where the suspense lies, not in the simple question of who will Belly end up with, but in whether the choices these characters make will heal them or break them. Each scene will be layered with unspoken words, stolen glances, and unhealed wounds from the past 3 seasons. The summer may be warm, but the emotions will be heavy. Fans are preparing for tears, for heartbreak, and maybe even for an ending that leaves us wondering if true love ever really wins. Because this isn't just a story about Belly choosing between Conrad and Jeremiah. It's about what happens when growing up forces you to see love not as a dream, but as something fragile, something that can slip through your fingers if you don't hold on tight. And season 4 promises to show us just how fragile these relationships have become. Every great story reaches a point where the past can no longer be ignored, and season 4 of The Summer I Turned Pretty feels like it is heading straight into that territory. The unspoken truths, the hidden pain, and the memories that linger in every corner of the cousins' beach house are ready to resurface. Because this season isn't only about Belly's choices, it's also about how the Fisher family carries the weight of loss and change. Susanna's absence still casts a long shadow, and it will continue to shape the paths of Conrad and Jeremiah in ways even they cannot escape. Her memory lingers in their actions, in their fears, and in the kind of love they are able to give. For Conrad, his grief has always been a quiet companion. He carries it like an invisible chain, making it harder for him to be vulnerable. In season 4, this burden might finally become too heavy to hide. Fans suspect that his breaking point is near, and if that happens, it could be the rawest, most emotional moment of the series. Because how long can someone lock away their pain before it breaks them open? And when it does, will Belly be the one who sees him for who he truly is? Or will she have already turned away? That tension is what keeps viewers hooked, because Conrad's silence has always spoken louder than his words. Jeremiah, on the other hand, processes his grief through connection, through his need to hold on to the people he loves. That's why his relationship with Belly feels so comforting and immediate. It's his way of holding on, of making sure he never feels the same emptiness Conrad does. But the cracks are there too, just waiting to show. Because love that is, born out of fear of losing someone, doesn't always last. Will Jeremiah finally face that truth? Or will his determination to keep Belly only tighten the cycle of heartbreak? And Belly, standing at the center of it all, can no longer remain the same girl caught between two brothers. Season 4 seems destined to test her in ways she never imagined. The heartbreaks she has already endured have matured her, but they have also left scars. She knows now that love can bring both comfort and destruction, and she must decide which kind of love she is willing to fight for. Because if she makes the wrong choice, it won't just break her heart. It could shatter the fragile bond that still exists between Conrad and Jeremiah. This is the haunting beauty of the story. It is not just about young love anymore. It's about the collision of love, loss, and growing up. Season 4 is where innocence finally fades, where each character will have to face the consequences of choices made in summers past. The tears, the longing, the bittersweet moments we've seen building are finally leading toward an ending that could change everything. And the truth is, no matter who Belly chooses, someone will be left broken. That is the reality of a love triangle where hearts are bound so tightly to one another. What makes this even more gripping is the possibility that season 4 may not give fans the perfect ending they dream of, because real life rarely offers perfect endings. Sometimes, the most powerful conclusion is one that reflects the truth, that love is beautiful, but it is also complicated, painful, and fleeting. The suspense isn't just about who ends up together, but about whether they will all survive the summer without losing themselves completely. This looming sense of finality, this shadow of heartbreak that hangs over the story, is exactly why fans are both desperate and afraid to see what Season 4 has in store. Because when the final summer arrives, it might not only close the chapter on Belly's love story, it could close the chapter on a part of our own lives too, the part that still believes in summer love and happy endings. As the story moves toward its final chapter, Season 4 of The Summer I Turned Pretty feels like the moment where everything that has been left unsaid finally comes to the surface. For years, the love triangle between Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah has been the heartbeat of the series. But now, the question is no longer just about who she will choose. It's about whether their relationships can survive at all. Because sometimes, love doesn't end with a decision. Sometimes, love ends because life forces it to. And that is what makes this season so gripping. The idea that no matter how hard they try, the ending might not be the fairy tale fans have hoped for. There's a bittersweet weight hanging over Season 4, as though every look, every conversation, and every choice carries more meaning than ever before. If this truly is the final season, then every moment will feel like a goodbye. The beach house, once a symbol of endless summers and innocent love, could become a place of closure, where the characters say farewell not only to their childhoods, but also to the people they used to be. That sense of finality is what makes the upcoming season so emotional, because endings, no matter how beautiful, always come with loss. For Belly, the journey is about more than choosing between two brothers. It's about stepping into adulthood and learning that love is not always about passion or comfort, but about what helps you grow. Her choice in Season 4 will define her future, but it will also define the futures of Conrad and Jeremiah. Because in stories like this, one decision has the power to change everything. Will she follow her heart, even if it leads to pain? Or will she choose stability, even if it leaves her longing for more? The suspense lies in the fact that neither answer guarantees happiness, and perhaps that's the point. For Conrad, this season could finally be the moment when he lets go of his fears and allows himself to be vulnerable. He has always been the guarded one, the boy who loved deeply but spoke too little. If Season 4 gives him the courage to reveal his heart, it could either win him Belly's love or break him completely. And for Jeremiah, the boy who has always worn his heart on his sleeve, this season could be about realizing whether his love is truly enough to hold on to Belly, or whether letting go is the only way to find peace. This is what makes The Summer I Turned Pretty so unforgettable. It's not just a story about young love, but about the kind of choices we all face as we grow up. Choices that define us, choices that hurt us, and choices that shape who we become. Season 4 will remind us that love, in all its beauty and heartbreak, is never simple. And no matter what ending Jenny Han has written, it will leave fans with tears, memories, and perhaps even a piece of themselves reflected in the characters. The release date may still be a mystery, the trailer may still be a distant promise, but the emotions are already alive in the hearts of fans. The wait for Season 4 is not just about watching the next chapter, it's about preparing ourselves to say goodbye. Because when the final summer fades, and when the last scene plays out, we will all be left with the same question that haunts Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah. Was the love worth the heartbreak? One thing is certain, Season 4 will not just be watched, it will be felt. It will be the kind of season that lingers long after the screen goes dark, reminding us that summer love, no matter how fleeting, always leaves a mark on the soul. So here we are, standing at the edge of something that feels both exciting and heartbreaking. The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 4 isn't just another season of television. It feels like the last chapter of a diary we've been reading for years. A diary filled with summers by the ocean, first loves, broken hearts, and the unforgettable magic of growing up. And now, as we wait for the trailer, for the first look, for the release date that will finally bring these moments back to life, we can't help but wonder, how will this story end? The truth is, no ending will satisfy everyone. Some fans want Belly with Conrad, believing their love was written in the stars from the very first summer. Others want Jeremiah, the boy who has always been there, the one who never gave up on her. even when everything fell apart. And some believe the most powerful ending might be Belly walking away from both, choosing herself, choosing growth, choosing a future that isn't tied to the Fisher brothers at all. That's the beauty and the heartbreak of this story. It's not just about who Belly chooses, but about what her choice means for everyone involved. And maybe that's why this series has touched so many hearts. Because deep down, we all remember a time when love felt like everything. When one look, one moment, one summer could change our lives forever. Watching Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah stumble through love and loss reminds us of our own past, the people we loved, the choices we made, and the heartbreaks we carried with us. That's why fans feel this story so deeply. It's not just theirs, it's ours too. But endings are never easy. They force us to say goodbye, even when we're not ready. Goodbye to the characters who have lived in our hearts for years. Goodbye to the summers that felt endless. Goodbye to the feeling that love, in all its messiness, was worth chasing no matter the cost. And when season 4 finally arrives, it will carry that bittersweet weight. Each episode will feel like a gift, but also like a countdown to the final. Goodbye. Still, there's something comforting in knowing that even when a story ends, it never really leaves us. The moments stay, the emotions stay, the lessons stay. Years from now, fans will still remember Conrad's quiet pain, Jeremiah's warm smile, Belly's torn heart, and the beach house that held it all together. We'll still argue about who she should have chosen, still rewatch the moments that made us laugh and cry, still hold on to the feeling that summer love, no matter how fleeting, was real. So as we wait for the official trailer, as we count the days until the release date is revealed, let's hold on to that anticipation. Let's hold on to the questions, the theories, the hope, and even the fear of heartbreak. Because that's what makes this story powerful. The way it keeps us guessing, the way it keeps us feeling, the way it reminds us that love is never simple, but it is always worth remembering. And when season 4 finally premieres, when we see the first scene unfold, we'll know that we're not just watching a show. We're witnessing the closing chapter of a story that has become part of us. A story that taught us about love, loss, and the fragile beauty of growing up. A story that will stay with us long after the final summer fades into memory. Because sometimes the most unforgettable stories are not the ones that give us perfect endings, but the ones that leave us with questions, with tears, and with the reminder that love, in all its messy, complicated, heartbreaking glory, is the most human thing of all.